Louis Zamperini's story is one of the most inspiring and moving of resilience, perseverance, and indomitable spirit. Born on January 26, 1917, in Olean, New York, Louis was the son of Italian immigrants. The Zamperini family moved to Torrance, California, when Louis was still a child, in search of a better life. However, adaptation was not easy. Louis, with his impulsive temper and tireless energy, often got himself into trouble. He was a rebellious boy, always involved in fights and petty crimes. In 1943, during World War II, a United States Air Force B-24 Liberator bomber crashed into the vast Pacific Ocean. On board was Lieutenant Louis Zamperini, a former Olympic runner who, alongside his companions, would fight for survival in one of the most incredible stories of human resistance. Louis Zamperini, from humble beginnings, transformed himself from a troubled young man into an elite athlete. In high school, he was discovered for his talent for running, which channeled his energy and transformed his life. Under the guidance of his brother Pete, Louis dedicated himself to athletics and soon excelled, breaking records and winning local competitions. In 1936, at age 19, Louis competed in the Berlin Olympics, representing the United States in the 5,000 meters. Although he didn't win a medal, his performance drew attention, especially for the final sprint, which impressed even Adolf Hitler, who asked to meet him. Louis was destined for great feats in athletics, but the outbreak of World War II changed his plans. With the outbreak of war, Louis enlisted in the United States Army Air Force and became a bombardier, serving in dangerous missions over the Pacific. In May 1943, he and his crew were sent on a rescue mission, but fate had other plans. The B-24's engine failed, and the plane crashed into the ocean, leaving Louis and his companions adrift in a small life raft, surrounded by sharks, without food or water. Louis Zamperini grew up in Torrance, California, where life was simple but full of challenges. He and his brothers woke up early to help with household chores and work odd jobs. Louis was known for his uncontrollable energy and rebellious behavior, which often got him into trouble. However, his life changed when his older brother Pete raised his running potential and encouraged him to join the school track and field team. Under Pete's guidance, Louis began training intensely. His speed and stamina quickly set him apart, and he began winning local competitions. Running not only channeled his energy, but also gave him purpose and direction. Louis broke records in high school and eventually earned a scholarship to the University of Southern California, where he continued to excel as a runner. At age 19, Louis competed in the 1936 Berlin Olympics. Although he did not win a medal, his performance in the final sprint of the 5,000 meters was impressive. He ran the last lap in just 56 seconds, a feat that caught the attention of Adolf Hitler, who asked to meet him in person. This experience solidified Louis' reputation as one of the best runners of his generation and gave him the confidence to pursue even greater success in athletics. With the outbreak of World War II, Louis' Olympic dreams were cut short. He enlisted in the United States Army Air Force and became a bombardier, participating in several dangerous missions in the Pacific Theater. In May 1943, Louis and his crew were sent on a rescue mission to find a missing plane. Flying a B-24 Liberator called the Green Hornet, they encountered mechanical problems and the plane ended up crashing into the ocean. When the Green Hornet crashed into the vast Pacific Ocean, the crew faced a desperate situation. Louis and two of his companions, Phil and Mac, were the only survivors. They managed to save themselves in two inflatable boats, but they were lost in the middle of the sea, without food, water, and limited supplies. "We have to ration what we have," said Louis, as they assessed their meager resources. "Every sip of water counts." Hunger and thirst soon became implacable adversaries. The three men faced scorching sun, violent storms, and the constant threat of sharks circling the boats. In a desperate moment, Mac, in an act of panic, ate all the chocolates they had, leaving them even more vulnerable. Louis took on the role of leader, encouraging Phil and Mac to keep hope alive. He caught fish with his hands and collected rainwater with his clothes so they could survive. They prayed daily, seeking strength to continue fighting. "Let's get out of here," Louis said with unshakable conviction. "We need to believe and not lose faith." The days turned into weeks. With each dawn, hope of rescue dwindled, but Louis refused to give up. He shared stories of his childhood and his racing, trying to keep morale high. In one of the most critical moments, Max succumbed to dehydration and starvation, passing away on the 33rd day. Louis and Phil, devastated by the loss of their friend, continued to fight for survival. They were weak, but Louis's determination never wavered. "Let's honor Mac by surviving," said Louis, with tears in his eyes. "He wanted us to get out of here." Louis's incredible endurance stood out during his 47 days adrift. He kept his mind focused and his spirit resilient, facing physical and emotional pain with unbreakable determination. He believed that each day brought a new opportunity for rescue, and he clung to that hope. Finally, on July 15, 1943, Louis and Phil were rescued by a Japanese ship. The joy of rescue was quickly replaced by the terror of being captured as prisoners of war. They were taken to a series of prison camps where they would face unimaginable torture. Captured by the Japanese, Louis and Phil were taken to Kwajalein Island, known as Execution Island, due to its reputation as a brutal prison camp. There, they were subjected to intense interrogations, torture, and inhumane conditions. Louis, already weakened by the experience of being adrift, now faced a new hell. "You're an American athlete, aren't you?" asked one of the Japanese officials upon finding out about Louis's Olympic past. "Yes, I am," Louis replied, with a firm voice, trying to maintain his dignity. Despite the torture and harsh conditions, Louis never revealed valuable information to his captors. He resisted bravely, maintaining his indomitable spirit. His reputation as an Olympian made him a particular target for Japanese guards, who attempted to break his will through physical and psychological punishment. After months on Kwajalein, Louis was transferred to the Omori prison camp near Tokyo. There, he encountered other Allied POWs who were also suffering at the hands of the Japanese. Life in the camp was brutal, with forced labor, little food, and constant beatings. One of the most sadistic guards, Mutsuhiro Watanabe, known as the Bird, developed a fixation on Louis, subjecting him to daily torture. Watanabe tried to break Louis's spirit in every way possible, but Louis refused to give in. "You will regret, every day, you don't respect me," shouted Watanabe while beating Louis. "I'll never give up," thought Louis, with each blow, determined to survive and maintain his dignity. Even in the most inhumane conditions, Louis found ways to resist. He helped other prisoners, shared stories, and kept morale high. His determination to survive and return home never wavered. In 1945, with the end of the war approaching, Louis was transferred to the Naoetsu prison camp, one of the worst camps in Japan. There, he faced grueling forced labor and continued to be the target of Watanabe's torture. Despite this, he remained hopeful that the war would end and that he would be released. Finally, in August 1945, after the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan surrendered. Louis and his fellow prisoners were released. Upon returning to the United States, he was received as a hero. His story of survival and resistance inspired millions, and he was hailed for his courage and determination. Louis was reunited with his family, who had kept hope alive that he would return home. Although physically weakened, his spirit was stronger than ever. He dedicated himself to rebuilding his life, overcoming the traumas and challenges he faced during the war. After the war, Louis Zamperini faced new challenges as he tried to readapt to civilian life. He suffered from nightmares and post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, reliving the torture and ordeals he faced as a prisoner of war. Seeking solace, he turned to alcohol, trying to drown his painful memories. "I couldn't escape the memories," said Louis, reflecting on those difficult years. Every night was a new nightmare. Louis's life changed drastically when he attended an event for Billy Graham, a young evangelical preacher, in 1949. Graham's message of forgiveness and redemption deeply touched Louis, leading him to give his life to Christ. He found spiritual peace and a new purpose. Louis decided to forgive his Japanese captors, including Watanabe. He traveled to Japan in 1950 and encountered some of the guards who tortured him. In an act of incredible courage and humanity, he offered his forgiveness, freeing himself from the bitterness and hatred that consumed him. "Forgiveness is more powerful than hate," said Louis, when reflecting on his journey of forgiveness. Louis Zamperini dedicated the rest of his life to helping troubled young people, sharing his story of overcoming and resilience. He founded Victory Boys Camp, a camp for at-risk boys where he taught life lessons based on his experiences. His story continued to inspire people around the world, showing that faith, hope, and determination can overcome even the greatest adversity. "My life is a testimony that, with faith and determination, anything is possible," Louis said in his motivational talks. Louis Zamperini's incredible story was immortalized in the book Unbroken by Laura Hillenbrand, published in 2010, and later adapted into a film directed by Angelina Jolie in 2014. Through the book and film, Louis's life reached a global audience, touching hearts and inspiring millions of people. Louis lived to be 97 years old, passing away on July 2, 2014. His life was a celebration of resilience, forgiveness, and an indomitable spirit. He left a lasting legacy of courage and hope, reminding everyone that no matter how difficult the circumstances, there is always a reason to keep fighting. Louis Zamperini's story is a testament that even in the most desperate circumstances, the human spirit can triumph. His life is an example of how faith, hope, and determination can transform adversities into triumphs. Louis teaches us that true heroism lies in never giving up, in forgiving, and in finding strength even in the darkest moments. Louis Zamperini is remembered not only as a war hero and an Olympian, but as a symbol of resilience and overcoming. His life is proof that, with courage and faith, we can overcome any challenge and find redemption. His story continues to inspire generations, showing that the human spirit is truly unbreakable. This story is based on real events. Although some dialogue and scenes may have been dramatized for narrative effect, the central events are true and have been documented in military records and interviews. If you liked it, leave a like. And for more real and impressive stories like this, subscribe to the channel. To the next.